In the mid to late 2000s, one of the most commonly seen supercars in gaming was the Ford GT, but possibly the most iconic version of this car was featured in the legendary PlayStation 2 classic, Gran Turismo 4. Seen in the intro movie, the Ford GT LM Spec 2 features a simple yet effective white with black stripes livery and sports the number 4 to commemorate the series' 4th iteration. While this specific version of the GT is fictitious, seeing that orbiting camera shot accompanied by an orchestral version of Gran Turismo's iconic theme, Moon Over the Castle, made the immense excitement of this car and the game itself very real. The special treatment this car received is not too surprising, seeing that Gran Turismo producer Kazunori Yamauchi was a huge fan of the Ford GT, and because of that, over 11 million people worldwide were able to experience the beauty and potential of the new Ford GT when booting up Gran Turismo 4 for the first time. And the obsession with this car doesn't just stop at GT4. Many other racing titles have seen this livery recreated by its users, and there's even been some die-cast models made of the GT-LM. Featured in games such as Gran Turismo 6, F1 2013, Assetto Corsa, and Project Cars, the Lotus 97T, as well as its younger sibling, the 98T, are examples of the best of 1980s Formula One. Most notably driven by Ayrton Senna, this car is used as part of a special event in GT6 as a tribute to the former world champion. Controlling this insane piece of racing history is no easy feat, with its turbocharged V6 producing over 1,000 horsepower at full boost. However, when mastered, this car is a lot of fun to drive no matter the game, and is generally a great way to experience Formula One history. Currently known as Super GT, the All Japan GT Championship provided gamers throughout the years with extremely fast and grippy cars with ridiculous body kits. While most gamers can easily recognize cars like the Nissan Skyline GTR and the Raybrig NSX, no JGTC/Super GT car is more iconic within gaming as the Castrol Supra GT. Although a slightly different fictitious version of the Castrol Supra was seen in the original Gran Turismo. The real JGTC car was introduced in GT2, and due to being prominently featured in the intro to GT3, quickly became the unofficial mascot car of the entire franchise. Of course, Gran Turismo wasn't the only home for this car, as it appeared in many other games, and the famous Castrol livery has been recreated in even more games that featured this generation of Supra. While many people outside of Japan may not know what JGTC or Super GT is, we have games like Gran Turismo and cars like the Castrol Tom Supra to thank for at least introducing the international crowd to the series' insane cars. Seen pretty much everywhere in gaming when it was released, the Nissan 350Z is easily one of the most popular cars of the mid-2000s, especially within tuner culture, and we have games such as Need for Speed Underground 2 to thank for that. In fact, if you do a Google image search for Need for Speed Underground, you'll find many pictures of the 350Z, specifically the one you borrow from Rachel at the beginning of Underground 2. While the 350Z is featured in many other games, as well as the newer version, the 370Z, we can trace the popularity of this car back to the tricked-out green machine that began players' Underground 2 adventure. While this car gained its popularity due to the anime Initial D, the Toyota AE86's inclusion in various video games only heightened the popularity of what is essentially just a normal 80s grocery getter. Its immense popularity may confuse people who aren't aware about its impact within car culture, but many petrol heads love driving and drifting the AE86 in several different games. Naturally, if you see one of these in-game, you'll most likely see its white and black livery made famous from Initial D, and you may even see other popular drift machines painted in a similar style. Sometimes fame can come in unexpected packages, and the Toyota AE86 is proof of that. When you think of the most iconic duos in gaming, people like Ken and Ryu, Mario and Luigi, Sonic and Tails come to mind. And for fans of the original Sega Rally, we have the Toyota Castrol Celica and the Lancia Delta Martini. Due to the great success of Sega's big arcade racer, these two cars gained vast popularity outside of the World Rally Championship. But the popularity doesn't just stop there, as with each new game that picked up these cars, like Colin McRae Rally and Gran Turismo, the popularity and iconic status of both cars only increased. It also helps that both cars are fantastic to look at, with both the Castrol and Martini liveries being two of the most popular racing liveries of all time, as well as both cars being a lot of fun to drive no matter where they appear. Probably the best example of not needing that one breakout appearance to become massively popular, the Nissan Skyline GTR R34 is easily one of the most popular street cars to ever come from Japan. Appearing in nearly every game that featured the Nissan brand, even those released today, the R34 has become one of the go-to cars for racers, tuners, and drifters alike. It's really no mystery why this car is so popular, with its great body styling and countless options to customize it to whatever motorsport you wish to drive it in. The R34 is the perfect swan song to the combined Skyline GTR brand. The fact that this car is still being included in modern racing titles such as The Crew is a true testament to the lasting popularity of this truly amazing machine. One of the most insane cars ever made, the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak, was an unbeatable near 1,000 horsepower monster in Gran Turismo 2, easily becoming a favorite of players around the world. This car may have been designed specifically for the Pikes Peak hill climb event in real life, but that didn't stop this car from tearing up the track and dominating the likes of Le Mans prototypes and anything else that dared cross its path in-game. Plus, who could forget tuning this car to do massive wheelies in Gran Turismo 3, accelerating all the way up to 1,000 kilometers an hour. While the Escudo may not be nearly as dominant in later GT titles, its popularity still exists and will always be brought up in conversations about the best cars within the franchise.
Get ready.
Have you ever dreamed of speeding down the highway in your Ferrari Testarossa Spyder with a beautiful lady in the passenger seat, her blonde hair flowing in the wind? Well, if you've ever played Outrun, then this dream has come true for you. Sorta. This arcade classic spawned many gamers and car fans with its fast and fun gameplay and the beautiful Ferrari that the player controlled. It's a shame that the Testarossa wasn't featured in many games outside of Outrun, but the arcade hit's success was more than enough to cement this car's place as one of the most iconic in all of gaming. If you fancy a drive in this 80s classic, there's plenty of versions of Outrun floating around in cyberspace just waiting for you to turn the key. Oh, and fun fact, only one version of the Testarossa Spyder actually exists in real life, made specifically for then Fiat chairman Gianni Agnelli. With the nose of a Buick Skylark and the rear of a Chevy Chevelle, Tanner's car from Driver gets an honorable mention on our list due to it being an original, unlicensed car made for the game. Despite that, it holds a place as one of the most legendary cars in gaming, thanks to many players tearing the streets of some of the US's biggest cities in this 70s-inspired beast. And how could we forget the Crazy Taxi? Flying over jumps and jamming out to the offspring while delivering your passenger to the closest KFC will be a memory never forgotten by any who have experienced the greatest taxi in all of gaming. Combining features of the Cadillac Eldorado as well as the Chevy Impala, this taxi is both stylish and fast. The BMW M3 E46 GTR may not have been seen much within Need for Speed Most Wanted, but it quickly became one of the most legendary cars of all time. Taken away from you just as you were beginning to enjoy the ride, the journey to claim your car back was met with one of the most satisfying conclusions to a racing game ever. Finally reunited, you and your M3 escaped from the police, and fans could not get enough of this amazing racing machine. This car and its iconic livery have since been reused in various other Need for Speed titles, and has also been seen in many other games thanks to its dedicated fan base, recreating the livery pretty much everywhere they can. While not very successful in real-life racing, nor being very popular prior to Most Wanted's 2005 release, the M3 quickly skyrocketed to the top of the food chain, and it has never looked back since. It's safe to say that gaming has helped give these cars much more exposure, as well as help them gain a massive fan base all around the world, uniting many different people with their love for all of these amazing automobiles. And on that statement, thank you for watching.